Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, whichever time you're watching this. My name's Leticia Campbell. I'm your number one email marketing strategist and thought leader. And we have another amazing conversation for each and every one of you on today. So this is like Independence Week for most of us. I know a lot of you this week, you're either traveling or preparing for July 4th or getting your fireworks ready, your barbecue ingredients ready, and all the things. So I'm excited for this time of year because I don't know what it is, but I get really excited about the third quarter. Right? I get really excited about the third quarter. It's so interesting that we're doing this topic today, but I do get really excited about the third quarter, right? Because the third quarter is the make it happen quarter. Right? It's that quarter where you got to just put things out there, where you got to really step outside of your comfort zone, where you got to get really, really goal oriented, right? And your time is so precious in the third quarter. Amen. So if you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and type in hashtag replay. If you just hopped on the live right now, you just entered the building, go ahead and type in hashtag live. And again, my name is Leticia Campbell. I'm your number one email marketing strategist and thought leader. So as I just said, I love the third quarter. I do love the third quarter of the year. It's the make it happen quarter. It's the let's get things done quarter. It's the step outside of your comfort zone quarter. It's the, even though you are feeling fearful, right, or insecure, or whatever emotion you feel, still get out there and get things done. It's the sacrifice quarter. It's the quarter of sacrificing, right? And that's major. That's major. So I'm so excited today to dive into today's topic, and I really want to take my time today. Hey, Michelle, how are you doing? Lovely. Happy to see you on. I really want to take my time today, and I want you guys also to put in your comments, right? I want y'all to interact. I want y'all to engage. I want this to be a fun, hey, Meiyoko, oh, nice hat. I want this to be a fun conversation today because this is the quarter where we're going to make things happen and we're going to get things done. And we're just going to iron out all those wrinkles that you guys feel that you have in your business. Right, Meiyoko?
Aye, Captain.
I love that. So again, today's topic is you don't have a clarity problem, right? You have a commitment problem.
Ooh.
Yes, that's spicy, right? I remember early on in my journey of entrepreneurship, I'm gonna be honest, I was very clear on what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like, I just always was. I always knew I wanted to have a business. I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur because my father had his own business. My great grandfather, when he came to this country from the Dominican Republic, he started his own cleaners, his own cab company. So I was always around people that had a side hustle, if you will, right? Mm-hmm. And that taught me as a young girl that there's other ways to make money. You know, and not that my parents fought against the education system. They did encourage me to go to college, but my father always said this, and I tell my kids this too. You got to have he told me this, oh my God, I'm probably 13, 14 years old. He said, you always should have a skill, because if you have a skill, you'll always make money. Mm-hmm. Always. You get laid off from your job, you can get furloughed, you can get whatever. But if you have your skill will always pay you. My father's skill was mechanic. My brother, who's my only brother, his skill was carpentry and mechanic. So even though they had their jobs, they also had their skills that paid them. So with entrepreneurship for me was my skill, you know, because I enjoyed working with people. I'm a very technical person. Okay, very technical person. And so that's always what I use and have leveraged for the past over, 2 decades. So when it comes to clarity, I've always had it, but I know a lot of you don't have clarity on what it is you want to do. I get that a lot from women, and they come to me and they say, well, I want to have a business, or I want to do this type of business, but I don't really know what to do. And, Meiyoko and I help you guys, discover what that is, and it always goes back to you. So what is your origin story, Meiyoko, as far as like your road to clarity and commitment in your business? Because we always like to talk about ourselves first.
I think for me, there's 2 things I knew that I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to help people.
Yep.
Right. And I wanted to be able to grow in a sense where nobody else was telling me how to do it and when to do it.
Mm.
That's when entrepreneurship came in. I didn't want to punch in the clock. I didn't want to work the traditional 9 to 5 because I felt like my skill set and what I could bring to the world was greater than sitting at someone's desk or spending time and time again out of my day to type something up or be in such a sedentary or stationary position. So I had to figure out what that was. So my career, believe it or not, started in the financial services industry because 1, I wanted to help people. 2, I wanted to look good doing it. When you're being an insurance agent, being a financial services rep, suit and tie,
yep,
help a lot of people. You're helping them with finances, insurance, stuff like that.
Right.
Problem that kept happening to me, this is very interesting. My clients would invite me over for dinner. Or then they would try to introduce me to their grandchildren, trying to set me up. Do you have a woman? Are you married? You got a girlfriend? So it's funny. It's funny because it ran into a problem, right? It ran into a problem.
I'm sorry.
No, it's funny. You ran into a problem because my manager at the time, he's just like, Meiyoko, your numbers are great, but you could be doing so much better. Like, and you're spending a lot of time at Mr. Jones' house, Robinson's house. Like you're over there 3 or 4 times. And then they're like, why are you over there so often? I'm like, they invited me over for dinner.
Right.
They invited me over for a piece of pie.
Yeah.
They wanted me to meet their granddaughter. Like, so the reason is because after the insurance was done, we would talk about life. I would love learning from older people and just experiences. And I ended up coaching them. Now, here I am, 20 years old, 21 years old, 22, 23, 24 years old. These people are 45, 50, 60, 65. And we're exchanging these different stories. And I'm actually coaching them. I didn't know this at the time. I'm actually coaching them. So they enjoy that so much. They kept inviting me back. This was part of my journey. So I said, you know what? My supervisor, I remember him sitting me down. He's like, look, if you don't get your numbers to where we want them to be, I mean, you're consistent, but your drive, I don't feel like you have the drive to really overachieve in this particular area. I'm like, my numbers are great. He was like, they're great, but we feel like you can do better. And we want to get you involved in this. But I'm just like, but then I don't have the time to be able to help people the way I want to. Like now it was a little bit of pushback on what I was doing. So I said, you know what? Maybe this isn't for me because I was captive at the time. Then I went into independent.
Oh, I understand.
And then I started working for insurance companies on my own time. But I started to find I loved educating and inspiring people more.
Right.
So that's kind of how the coaching thing started. And I developed my love for that because most people that don't know, if you don't know, my father was a pastor. So I always kind of had the mindset to serve and to help others.
Right.
And that's how I transitioned to coaching. Coaching was something I was always doing.
Right.
I never knew that it was a thing that you can actually make money and until I was at a job. I was doing this alongside the insurance industry. And I just got physically sick. I literally got physically sick.
Right.
And I remember, like, I was at a state where I just started crying because I was just in a place in my life where I'm like, this is not who I am. I gained all this weight. I'm doing the things that people said should make you happy, right?
Right.
And I was like, one or two things has to give. I said, either I'm going to continue down this road, get sicker, be more unhappy, or I'm going to make one of the most scariest decisions I've ever made. And I'm just going to go for what I truly feel like I should be doing.
Right.
I remember praying about it. And I remember quitting the job. I remember my father coming home, right? And he found out. And I had already prayed to God, like, look, I don't want any more stress. Like, I know this is the direction I should be going. So my dad, he found out and he was about to fuss, right? But then he was like, boy, And then he was like, you know what? He said, I'm just gonna pray for you.
Right, right.
And that's how I knew. I'm just like, bet, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because my dad told me, now everybody listen, my dad was an amazing man.
Right, right.
But he told me, he said, you cannot make money in sales. It's too risky.
Right.
He's a traditional 9-to-5 guy, had a high position at UPS in the managerial space. Very well for himself. But he said sales is not where you want to go. That's not where you're going to make your money, et cetera, et cetera. Before my father left this earth, he was one of my biggest supporters.
Amen.
The reason why is because he started to see features in magazines. He started to see some of the results, and he's just like, wait a second. And then it's just like his insecurities turn to, how's business, son?
Right, right. Wow.
You know, because to him, it's just like, oh, wow, he's really like, this is what he's good at.
Right.
And he's
That's
making
amazing.
some progress.
That's amazing.
So I say that to encourage people, like when you are clear about what you want and what your purpose is, your consistency is going to produce results. And those results are going to prove to everyone else that you're where you should be.
That's where it should be, that you're aligned.
That's how it happened for my dad.
Yes.
And once I have my dad's support, man, forget it.
That's it. And I'm so happy that your dad got a chance to see you get that kickstart. You know what I mean? I know he's watching down and is very proud of you. I want you guys to share in the comments, what is your origin story in business? Like, why did you get started doing what you do in the first place? So please take the time, you guys, to definitely share that, because we all have a starting line in this journey, wherever that is. Like whether it was like my example, me seeing my dad and my knowing about my great grandfather and how he started his business. With you, Meiyoko, with sales and things like that. You guys share in the chat, what was your start? You know, what was your start? And the reason why I ask is because sometimes we do forget about that. You know, as we go through the journey of entrepreneurship, where we're hitting walls and challenges comes up, we forget about why we started this in the first place.
Right.
And I think that's amazing. So let's get into today's conversation while you guys are dropping that in the chat. You know, again, our conversation today, our topic today is that you don't have a clarity problem, you have a commitment problem. And which brings us to the first thing. You know, clarity is a thing that we all want, right? But when we don't have a clarity, when we have a clarity problem, right? Indecision comes up. Right? Self-sabotage comes up. We can't make a choice or decision. And what I mean by decision is strategy, you know, content, right? Who you're targeting, what problem you solve, all those things. You're just not making a decision, where you have an idea, you have a passion, but you can't land on what it is that thing that you deliver on.
Right.
So you're like in the middle, right? And you think that's safe. You know, Meiyoko told me years ago, you're more than just email marketing, Leticia. Hey, prophetess, you're more than just email marketing, Leticia. But I wanted to stay safe, you know, in email marketing, right? And so the thing is with that is that we're unable to make a choice, make a decision. And when if you can't make a decision, you don't have a plan.
Right.
You can't create a clear plan or a clear path on what it is you want to do. And when you don't have that, you can't create or implement a strategy that's going to help people that you are supposed to help. Yeah.
Right. I just want to say in regards to indecision, sometimes you have to weigh options. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about that.
Right.
Most people they're in a state of indecision because of one thing, and that's fear.
Yes. Yes. Say that again. Yeah.
If I go in this direction, I'm afraid that this might happen. If I go in this direction, I'm afraid that might happen. So ultimately, what happens is you end up not making any decision at all, which is a decision to do nothing. And the reason why this is crucial, and it will absolutely derail your business or anything in life for that matter, is because you end up not making a decision. And then life and your indecision ends up making a choice for you. And that's never a good one. That is never a good one. That's why some people are stuck in their business, why they're sad, why they're depressed, why they feel like it's not going to work, because they didn't have the courage or the insight enough to make a decision based on the choices that they had at the particular time. Have to make a decision to do something. Entrepreneurship, personal branding, this journey is about trial. I don't even want to say error, trial and development.
And development.
Trial and development, because we call them errors, but we're learning from decisions that we make that may not have been the best decisions. So we're gaining knowledge from that experience. So you're consistently developing. You rob yourself of development when you are indecisive on what step to take.
That's true. That is true, because it's almost like, I think of it as like a computer system, right? Because I'm so technical. So when something happens with your computer and it doesn't, not that it shuts down, but there's an error that comes up, what's the next button? It says troubleshoot. Sometimes in our business, we see a challenge comes up and we just make a decision to be indecisive and self-sabotage instead of troubleshooting, right? Troubleshooting. What's the issue? What's the problem? How can we solve it? How can we and sometimes when we hit that troubleshoot button, there's multiple ways to troubleshoot. It gives you these options. Click this for this, click that for that. So just like we talked about our last show, that there's really no one clear strategy to success. Success is like a winding step. It's like a squiggly line, right? It's the same thing when we think about getting more clarity in our business. You know, we get more clarity through trying different things out, right? Making a choice, making a decision, like Meiyoko said, to show up. Because if you don't show up, you're making a decision to not show up. It's still a choice. If you don't do anything, it's all still a choice.
Right.
So to get more clear, right? When you think of like a glass window, you know what I mean? How are you going to see through the window? You got to wipe it down. You have to do that. You know, the reason why I say that, because sometimes we wait for an answer for other people. I'm gonna see what my coach say. I'm gonna see what this person say. I'm gonna see who that. No, get out there and try things, test things out for yourself. You know what I mean? It's your life, is your business, right? So it brings us to our second point, which is your audience feels if they feel your uncertainty, they know, they feel it, they feel it, they feel it, they feel it. They know that you're not clear. They know that you're not certain. They know, more importantly, you're not committed.
Right.
You know what I mean? Through your actions.
Right.
And they're not sold on you.
So I got to use this as an example. I know some men watch this, but I see my ladies in here.
Ladies.
Now, type in the chat. Yes or no on whether or not you can literally start to sense in a relationship, right? When a man is not committed. Type a yes or no in the chat.
I'm gonna type yes.
Can you tell when a man is committed or not committed, or invested or not invested in you, or wanting to get to know you, more about you? Okay, so I see some yeses. Same thing for your audience.
Yep.
If you are not committed to getting to know your audience, understanding their problems, providing solutions for them, being transparent, connecting, relating to them, they can sense it just the same way you can talk to a man and be in a situation or an environment where you be like, you know what? He gonna waste my time. Not committed. He's not even invested. He's not interested. He's not taking the time. So you know what? He's out. Next. Or you say, you know what? I'm just going to stay to myself now.
Yep.
I ain't worried about it. Your audience is the same. What level of commitment are you showing your audience? What level of interest in your audience are you showing them? How are you invested in your audience? Let me show you. This is investing in your audience.
Right.
You know, I was thinking about 2 days ago, and I thought about the importance of being intentional.
Right.
I was finding in my own life that I wasn't being intentional in this particular area. So what I did is I came up with a system that is really showing me how to stay on track and how to be intentional with the things that I need for my own life. And I have to share it with you because I love adding value. Now your audience is like, wow, He took an experience that he was dealing with. I'm dealing with lack of intention, and he's going to share a tool with me. He really is invested in helping me develop and to get better.
That's right.
That's not being uncertain. That's being very clear and being invested in your audience.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So they have to feel that, just like in relationships, because it is a relationship. It's just not a romantic one. Why I use this example so much. You're still building a relationship with your audience. If you don't feel if you're not relatable, they cannot connect to you. They don't feel like you're invested, and they don't feel like you really have their best interest, and you're trying to help them, and you can offer a solution. Then it's uncertain. It's no point of even posting any content. There's no point of even saying that you're this and you can help them with that. They have to be able to feel it. They have to be able to see it. And again, that's why I use the relationship example. We can sense it. I can sense on somebody's post whether or not they're really trying to add value or they're just throwing a hook out to see who catches the bait.
That's true.
Something.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, and when your audience is confused, they can't move forward. For some of you, doing more clarity calls will also be that extra push. But a lot of times that doesn't happen because even when you're getting asked basic questions on what's your methodology and what's your roadmap to the process that you want to take me through, it's hard for people to answer that because you don't have that level of clarity in your business that you need in order to give people that confidence enough to buy from you. I love one thing about entrepreneurship that I'm realizing more every day, because I see a lot of people do a lot of things on social media. I'm like, this person is like crazy, but it's that person's individual's level of confidence, that really gets people to be convinced that they're the right person for them. Right. A lot of us don't have that intricate confidence to get out there and actually display this level of passion. We have it internally, but actually displaying it is like a little roadblock and challenge there. So that's also can create uncertainty in your audience when it comes to your message and what it is that you do. Right. So that's very important. This is a great conversation. So let's land on number 3, which is the brand. Your brand isn't built on brainstorming, it's built on boldness. Like I just talked about confidence. Are you being bold? Are you being very bold enough today for people to say, I want to listen more on what you have to say? Right? Because it always starts with curiosity with our audience. They see you online, they see a post or a live or a reel, and you may have said some words or verbiage that made them feel like, okay, let me lean in. Hey, Diane. But that's just the surface. Once they get in, what else is there? Right? What else is there? Right. So you can't brand yourself while consistently rethinking who you are. Right. We always do that, questioning, rethinking, right? We start, then we stop, right? We don't really have that internal power of feeling like we're worthy enough, not just to help people, but to also be successful.
Right. Yep. Here's the thing. Here's the thing with brainstorming is good, but there's an expiration date for brainstorming, right? The problem is we use brainstorming as an excuse to procrastinate.
Yes, we call it staying in the lab.
Yeah, I'm in the lab. I'm working on something. I'm brainstorming.
Right. That's true.
You know what I mean? I'm quietly working behind the scenes. No, you're hiding. You're hiding.
100%.
Being bold is saying, okay, I have this idea, and as I present it to the world, I'm going to adjust as time progresses. And this is what thought leadership is all about. You can't be a thought leader if you're afraid to think out loud. And what I mean by that is, as you develop your business, your brand, you're out there, you're bold, you're expressing your mission, because the mission should be something you're clear on. Once you're clear on the mission, you're out there. Now, the other things around it may need some tweaking, some tightening up. So what happens is, as the journey continues, you start to tighten things up as you go along. But you're not in the lab brainstorming. You're not figuring things out. No, you're going to figure things out in public. That's what's going to happen.
Right.
The mission is out there. Your purpose is out there. What you do is out there, and how you help people is out there.
That's right.
Now, the things that come along with that process, those are the things you're going to have to tweak and adjust as you go along the way.
That's right.
So stop getting caught in the brainstorming process. You done brainstormed yourself out.
Totally out. Make
a decision. Let people know who you are, what you do, why you're passionate about doing it, and how it benefits them. Everything else, you adjust as you go along the journey.
Right. I agree 100%. And also with thought leadership is also being able to be influential enough to change people's mindset on things, you know, because you can help somebody from A to Z. But a lot of times what happens with some clients is they go right back into the original habits. Because again, you have changed them, but you haven't changed them up here. You know, thought leadership is literally being influential up here for people, you know. So that's another thing, because, you know, that segues into our, you know, event that's coming up. That's like one of the foundational, you know, breakthroughs that we provide for our event is you're a leader and you're also a thought leader. You need both.
Right.
You need both.
You're setting me up a quote that I did on Facebook.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Share that quote. Share it. Yes. It was a really good quote.
You can't be a thought leader if you're afraid to think out loud.
Yes.
That's what a thought leader is. Your thoughts, your mission, your perspectives is for the public viewing.
Yes.
You can continue. I just had to.
That touches on a good thing, because I had a conversation with one of my clients this morning, and she was like, I'm going to make this suggestion. I said, make it. See, segueing to what Meiyoko said, you got to think out loud. What we do, and I don't know if this is a man challenge, but I'm only speaking from a woman perspective. We are so afraid of that thinking out loud. We don't want to shake the table. We don't want to rattle the bush. We want to stay in the middle, like I mentioned earlier. We want to stay safe, because a lot of times we make a wrong decision to not think out loud, because we are afraid that people are going to unfollow us. Come on now. People are going to make we may be saying something on live, and somebody may come back with a negative comment. I know, Meiyoko, you've had this in the past on your social media where you posted something and somebody says some stupid comment. You know what I mean? We're afraid of all those things, but you guys know, even with the negative stuff, right? Spark up thoughts and content information, right? And it actually is a proof that what you're saying and what you're doing is the right thing.
Right.
Because like the word says, where there's good, there's also bad too. So it works hand in hand. You know, no matter what we do, there's going to be some type of force that's going to come against what you're doing. It doesn't mean that you should stop thinking out loud or stop doing what it is that you're doing.
Especially as a thought leader. Especially as a thought leader.
You still got to be bold. Be bold in your purpose. Yeah, go ahead.
Your thoughts are going to be challenged.
Yes, they are.
They're going to be challenged.
Yes.
But here's the thing. They're still your thoughts at the end of the day.
That's right. They still your thoughts. And that's what stops us. And if somebody in the comments that I see, I know she feels it sometimes, that's what stops us from being bold. And again, thinking out loud.
Right.
Thinking out loud. You know, even if you're the only person on your social media or in the room that thinks the way you think, that's okay. You know, entrepreneurship is we step outside of the crowd. We're not supposed to be in with the crowd. We're supposed to be Miyoko's favorite word. We're supposed to be the trailblazers, right? We're supposed to be setting a new trail. Yes, everybody may be going in this direction, but you're like, no, I have a different trail to my destination. That's thinking out loud. That's you walking in your boldness. And we all have to do it in order to really help people that we want to help, because your audience is looking for that person who is not part of the norm or part of the regular way that people do things. They're looking for that one person, which is probably you, that steps outside of the norm, outside of the crowd. Your audience is looking for a different way to think, looking for a different way to act, looking for a different way to do things. And if you're doing the same thing everybody else is doing, or if you're making a decision not to get up and do anything, how are you standing out? How they're going to find you.
And I'll say this and I'll be quiet. If people are trying to judge you and talk about you in ways that don't feel good or are negative, this means you're doing something right.
That's right. That's right. And I'm gonna say this: if people are trying to silence you, that means you're doing things.
You're doing something right.
You know what I mean? The Meiyoko and I could talk for days hand in hand, but y'all got to come to the event to really get the full magnitude of that particular point. Because I know a lot of you on here, you're going through both those things. That's part of entrepreneurship as well.
I want you to stop thinking that negative energy is happening to you because you're doing something negative. Because when you're doing something that is trailblazing, when you're doing something that is disrupting, you're doing something that's causing a rift and transforming other people, that energy is going to come. You just have to know how to deal with it, why it's there, and how to make sure it doesn't penetrate your purpose. The things that but it's going to come, though.
It's going to come. Yes. This is why you guys definitely need to get the support that you need, and that's one of the things with our event is that you're going to get that, when Meiyoko and I both know hand in hand that entrepreneurship is not easy, because if it was, everybody and their mama, their grandmama, everybody would do it.
Yep.
Right? Only the strong survive. Only the strong keeps going. That's one of the things I realized. And Meiyoko and I has well over 4 decades of the push through and the resiliency and the commitment and all the things. We've been through the ups and downs. I was sharing something with my second daughter. I was like, you got to listen to your older sister because she made all the mistakes that you're definitely not going to make. And one of the things about Meiyoko and I, especially those of you who come to the event, is going to definitely help for you guys to avoid all the mistakes that we have made in entrepreneurship. And you could probably share some of yours. Is that community that you guys need. So again, if you have not registered yet for our tour, make sure that you do. We're going to be kicking off here in New York on August 16th. Yes. We just
I see some new names.
Yes. Oh, we did see some new names. Yes. We just locked in our venue, so it's super excited about that. So make sure you guys, those of you who registered, you're going to get an email out soon. But those of you who have not registered yet, if you can't come to New York in person, guess what? You can watch us live. Okay. Join in virtually. We would love to have each and every one of you virtually. And it's going to be absolutely a breakthrough event. It's going to be an evolution-based event. And it's going to be an event that you definitely don't want to miss. So definitely join us in this transformation because we want all of you to attend. We definitely do. The link is on the screen. All right. And I really enjoyed this conversation, Meiyoko. I don't know about you because I know clarity is always a challenge for people.
We hit a couple of key elements. I wish we had more time because there's a lot that you can work on in this.
There is a lot. And those of you who are seeking clarity, our event is where you're going to definitely get that. It's definitely going to get that. Every level in your business.
Get the tickets.
Get your tickets. Every level in your business is always another level of more clarity and more awareness that you have to develop as a man and a woman. Right? So let's open up more doors for yourself. Join and register, get your ticket for this event. And we hope to see y'all there. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye, guys.